This is bad news. What do we know?
Yeah, we've heard how dozens have fallen sick and one person with underlying conditions has died. We know how the CDC is telling us that, it might take a while before the full extent of the outbreak can be known because there might have been some that recovered without even being tested. And the locations that are worst affected are the ones in Colorado as well as in Nebraska. For McDonald's, what it's saying so far is it seems like they've managed to, in a way, narrow it to one supplier of its onions, and it's also pulled off the menu its Quarter Pounder. Have a listen.
The decision to do this is not one we take lightly, and it was made in close consultation with the CDC. It's important to note that the majority of states and the majority of menu items are not affected. Other beef products at McDonald's, including the cheeseburger, hamburger, Big Mac, McDouble, and the double cheeseburger are not impacted.
So comments there really from the chief of McDonald's seeking to reassure consumers and perhaps investors as well that they are working towards keeping this contained.
Well, even as it tries to contain the situation, investors are not liking it. I mean, the stocks were impacted.
Yeah, they certainly punished the stock. We saw it post-market. It tanked as much as 10%, although it's pairing some of those declines. If these losses hold when markets reopen, it would be the steepest decline since March 2020. And going forward, the investor reaction, I think, is going to be very dependent on how McDonald's actually responds to this outbreak. So far, we've heard from one of its supply chain officers that is working with the CDC. But we also know how these things can be really tricky. You think back to 2015 when Chipotle was dealing with the E. coli norovirus outbreak and how long its sales were affected. There were fines also that were imposed. For now, we have the likes of Bloomberg Intelligence saying that the worst of the impact for sales and traffic, that's going to be likely for this quarter, but it could stretch as far as the fourth quarter of next year in terms of pressure on sales.
The thing is, it is a very challenging time for McDonald's, right? I mean, it is about consumption. Consumers are up in arms right now.
Certainly, it is facing challenges to its business, but there are also some other things that I think has drawn scrutiny. I mean, you think about Trump's appearance at a Pennsylvania outlet and, serving food, working the drive-thru, working the fry station. So far, McDonald's has tried to kind of distance itself from the politics, says it's not taking sides. We also see under scrutiny because of its price hikes, right? Something that has actually outpaced the pace of inflation as well as input costs. And we hear earlier this week how the likes of Elizabeth Warren asking for information on McDonald's pricing decisions. So I think this latest outbreak just adds to the challenges for the company.